Hello everyone and welcome to episode 14 of WICSO. As we saw last episode, Europe imploded. Let's continue with the Great Arabian Civil War. We'll see the Egyptian rebellion start to spread out into the more Libyan regions. It just starts to encroach, taking a major city, pushing along the coast, just stopping outside of that one. We also see it fully taking Sinai and just being largely halted on the opposite side of the river, as well as coming down a bit, being able to take this major city. We'll see much the same happening from the Sudan. It takes, most of Sudan, taking the rest of this northern area. As we also see Algeria will also make a large sweeping campaign coming down the desert and just being held outside of this major city. The Greeks, in hopes to take up some land they lost, seize Crete and some of these other islands. We also see Oman linking up their borders and coming quite far down, taking a lot of land they used to control before unification. We also see Hijaz taking a lot of this and linking up the two major parts, as well as seizing this city. We also see a large push upwards to take this one. We'll see another rebellion state appear around this major city, taking a lot of the southern desert area, creating a Saudi state, which will be a massive blow towards this whole area. We'll also see Kuwait seizing the rest of this coastline, pushing inwards a bit, and by this we see a final maneuver by Egypt seizing these final two cities, and with that the Arabia will surrender to the rebellions in a conditional peace. So we see a new Libyan state being established by the Algerians and the Egyptians, as well as the Egyptians fully annexing the Sinai Peninsula, as well as some of the southern, closer down the Red Sea area, while Sudan taking all the land they occupied. We also will see Saudi Arabia to be established, Kuwait to get a lot of the coast, Oman to take huge portions of the peninsula, as well as Hijaz to take nearly all of the Red Sea coast on Arabia, bar a few points up here, in which we now must establish capitals for the newer regions. The capital of Saudi Arabia will be right here, as that is their only capital. The capital for Kuwait will be right here. Capital of Sudan will be placed here. Oman will right there, reinstating their former capital, I believe. Egypt will put their capital right there. Libya here, Morocco on Gibraltar, and Algeria on here. This will bring an end to the Arabian Civil War, but now we must go to a second civil war in Ukraine, in which we saw West Ukraine, New Ukraine, Kuban, the North Caucasus, and Russia invading into Ukraine as it collapsed due to the collapsing of Arabia, which it was very strongly tied to. And well, it doesn't look very good for Ukraine, as new Ukraine forces are pushing up along this river, as it slowly reaches the very end of it, going up to just roughly about here, as it also seizes the capital of Ukraine in Crimea. Romania will continue to hold its forces here, as well as Russia will channel its army through New Ukraine. Kuban and this green country will not really interfere with New Ukraine, as it seeks to just keep a solid border where it is. However, there will be another country joining into the conflict in the form of Poland, as it very, very quickly captures the majority of West Ukraine's landmass, fully occupying it before quickly going into Ukraine proper, as it speedily takes the city before setting up defensive positions. And it really doesn't look good for Ukraine unless someone else were involved. But this is not the end of Russian expansion. Russia will once again look to who's nearby, and they will begin an invasion into the Baltic Union, Baltic Duchy. Its land army hastily rushes in, capturing this major city, coming on the outskirts of this one. This will not be it though, as Russia will also send an army to Finland, which will capture much of all the eastern proximity, in which Finland will very quickly come to negotiate peace. Russia will take nearly all of eastern Finland, taking this major city, but leaving the outskirts of this one. It now has connections to the Arctic as well as the Baltic, and hopes to secure some sort of alliance with New Ukraine upon their possible victory. Russia will continue to invade into the Baltic Duchy, although meeting strong resistance as a new victory pushes a lot of Russian forces out of the city region, and as they begin to make a march into Russia, which will be halted around this river and this sort of territory here. However, not is all good for the Baltic Duchy, as similarly to Russia, Poland, seeing victory as a near guarantee, will also try and invade for sea access, as it will take, in the early days, this city as well as coming into this sort of region, threatening the capital as they push up here. This will officially sort of merge the Ukrainian Civil War with this larger war, creating what will be known as the Great Eastern War, where we see factions such as Russia, Poland, and the Ukraine attacking a weakened Ukraine, the Baltic Duchy, and that's really it. As we did not really cover America much last episode, we're gonna do a bit more with it this time, as we see just a general combined effort by some of these states inwards and around the coast, such as California and the Floridian Empire, sort of just come together to expand explore a lot of this unknown territory, as well as the Great Lakes Empire, sort of exploring around up here, meeting some Floridian explorers, generally just working together to explore all this before coming together with Texas as well to sort of draw up borders and claims. The newly explored land will be divided in this sort of way, seeing large expansion from countries like the Floridian Empire, California, Texas, the Great Lakes. And that is roughly what we'll see for North America, sort of. As we see what really should have already been expected to happen soon, as more exploration happens on the Greenlandian coast, and the British explore all of Iceland. Their explorers will eventually meet up onto Greenland, seeing people from this Newfoundland and people from Britain, creating first contact, in which we'll largely see similar occurrences to our history, in which disease from Europe will transmit to North America, and North American diseases will transmit to Europe, as well as inventions will transfer, and trade will also go between each other, creating to both a large loss of life through disease, but large technical advancements in both continents, and well, the whole world as a whole, as they are now all aware of who exists and who doesn't. Apart from these, really, because although Taiwan still exists, they know Taiwan exists, and they've seen them, they don't really know all of this, a lot of Europe, because they're keeping it quiet to themselves. With the entire exploration of Iceland, Britain does colonize it, as well as taking a little bit of Greenland. As such will the Nova Scotians, just to have some form of diplomacy, sort of diplomatic meeting place that isn't miles apart. More exploration of Asia from Russia, because whilst it is still in quite a large scale war, they'll want to expand, as in their mind, it will bring them more like economic boosts than losses, as they will be proven right. There's a lot of this before getting to the Urals will be full of like furs which they can sell with countries they're not at war with, to be able to get more money to fund their war, in which they do a lot of eastward expansion, especially around this Arctic zone, as well as generally exploring down meeting up to Kazakhstan and taking over a lot of this territory, but being fair and letting their new puppet state taking a bit too, leading to a huge Russian state in which will start to build a new world order distant from Arabia or the Eastern European powers, which did also just collapse, leaving them perfect to start their own empire on their stage. That's largely all of Europe for today, as we'll go back to the more chillax Chinese sort of area, in which Tibet and well India and all these countries sort of just explore codependently a lot of this Tibetan plateau sort of area in the Himalayas, leading to sort of land race in which, as you can imagine, Tibet will get a lot, in which scramble for Tibet will sort of give these borders, as once more we'll drift further over to China, in which, well, with the addition of Tibet, which was quite advanced compared to the other countries, then technology will be properly implemented into the Tibetan technology will be successfully incorporated into the UHR, as it will begin to expand even deeper into mainland China, even exploring past some of these Vietnamese colonies, leaving to a lot of land to be rushed and filled up into, in which this is how the new farmland will be divided, as we see Green Ukraine taking a decent chunk, North Korea will take a lot of the coast and inwards a bit, Yellow will take a lot inwards, so will Taiwan, and a new Manchurian state will be established, which will join into the Holy Ukrainian Empire. Yeah. And with this peaceful Asian expansion is which we will leave the episode off for today.